Okay, breaking news, guys. Just last night, a deal was struck in Congress covering the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. By the way, my name is Duke, and I make taxes very easy to understand, and I want to break down this Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. So there are three main points in this Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. One, for the government to make money and pay down our national debt. Two, to reduce the cost of prescription drugs and health insurance. And three, invest in energy security and climate change. So first, let's talk about the raise money and pay down national debt. So check this out. The current U.S. national debt, it's at $30 trillion. This means that every one of you guys watching this video owes about $92,000. So pretty much Congress like, hey bro, like, all right. This is getting kind of out of hand. We're gonna have to do something about it. So I believe they have three ways right now of figuring out a way to raise money to pay down the national debt. The first one is that they want to put a 15% minimum corporate tax on companies that are grossing $1 billion or more. So right now, the United States has a 21% corporate tax, which is assessed on the corporation's tax return. This new proposal would assess a 15% tax on the books instead, which I'm assuming is, kind of what they show investors, right? You want people to invest into your business. Businesses like, like Netflix, like they're talking about these 200 big companies like Amazon, Netflix, and all those people. You want people to invest into your business. So you're like, hey, look at my books. We're making so much money. Look at our profit. Look at us. Come give me your money. Let's invest. So essentially, but when they file their tax return, they claim all these credits, deductions, and essentially it almost wipes out the profits and there's no tax. So what I'm assuming that this is meaning right here is that they want to assess that 15% tax on their books rather it be than the tax return. And so they believe to raise about $313 billion in tax revenue from here. The second one is a prescription drug reform. So pretty much what's going here is that there are people on Medicare, private insurance, and the prices of prescription drugs are just like out of this world. And there are a lot of people on federal programs, so it's like the government is pretty much paying for this. For example, in 2021, there was a record high of drug increases. Over 900 brands increased their drug prices on average of 4.2%. So they're like, dude, what's going on? You guys are increasing your prices. People can afford this. We have inflation going on. Let's do something about this. So they want to, cap costs for seniors on Medicare Part D at 200% annually out-of-pocket expenses. They also want to penalize drug companies for raising prices above inflation. Could you imagine having a subscription that you have to pay for, then inflation goes up, so the cost of everything goes up, and you're no longer able to afford your medicine? That's kind of like the problem that's going on. And they want to make sure if they penalize drug companies if you raise your prices above inflation. And they also want to allow Medicare to negotiate prices with drug companies. And I want to bring my notes kind of, because I'm kind of reading off my notes because I just studied this all today. So here's my notes. And I want to insert this picture in my notes that this plan, they plan to start it implemented in 2023, 2024, 2025, but you actually won't see, the people on Medicare won't actually see that decrease in prescription drugs until like 2026. So that's kind of the deal with the prescription drugs, and the program is expected to bring in about $228 billion. The third thing is IRS enforcement. All right, to raise money. So there are two things that Congress wants the IRS to do when it comes to raising money. That's one, to give the Internal Revenue Service $80 billion to add auditors, and boost tax enforcement. So they want to audit more people, and they believe that they can raise about $124 billion from this. The second option they want to do is close the carried interest loophole. So and I had to study this morning. The carried interest loophole is, so carried interest is any time that people are managing money for other people and they make money off of it. So if you get someone money, they make money off of that, the money that they invest in, well, that's how they get paid. So these are typically people like hedge fund investors, private equity firms, real estate investment partnerships. So what these people do is take other people's money and invest them into things that they believe would make more money. And in return, they give the investor back their money, but they also take a portion of those profits or gains themselves. So under current law, these gains that these managers are taking is taxed at a capital gains rate, which is no more than 20%, rather than at ordinary gains rates, which could be up to 37%. So the question then becomes, okay, is this money that people are managing truly capital gain income to them, or is it truly a salary to them that is subject to ordinary rates? Right now, under law, it's subject to capital gains rate. So people are, are not even, they won't even hit that 30% bracket. So that's kind of the argument. Definitely right now, it's like, okay, well, is this, capital gains income? There's one side that says, no, this is not capital gains income because there's no money put up at risk from the managing people themselves. So that's kind of the argument. They want to close that. They want to categorize this as ordinary income subject to the maximum 37%, rather be the 20%, and they expect to raise about $14 billion. Then the next thing is the Affordable Care Act extension. So the American Rescue Plan pretty much enhanced health insurance and Affordable Care Act. It created a new income window which allowed millions of more people to qualify for $0 premiums. It allowed people with higher incomes to qualify as well, and people with unemployment with $0 premiums as well. So pretty much with this Affordable Care Act, it's a subsidy, which is a subsidy and tax credit is pretty much the same thing as the government is paying for something for you. So the lower your income, the higher your subsidy or tax credit. The higher your income, the lower your tax credit. So pretty much you're just extending this, and is set to expire, and they're going to extend it. And then the last thing is there's more energy tax credits. They want to release like new tax credits to support energy and climate change. This will also be a tax credit for consumers who add renewable energy items to their homes, including heat pumps, rooftop, solar, electric, HVAC, and then water heaters. And then also, which is really neat, which is super exciting, especially Telsa will be jumping off the walls, is that there's this current like electric vehicle tax credit cap, right? Where you cannot have, where a manufacturer is capped at $200,000 vehicles. So for example, let's say I wanted to purchase a Tesla, and I want to claim that there's a $7,500 tax credit. Well, I can't because Tesla has sold over 200,000 cars. But I think Toyota just hit their cap. But let's say Toyota only sold 190,000 like electric vehicles that qualify. Well, I can still claim an electric vehicle for Toyota, but I can't for GM, and I definitely can't for Tesla because they have hit their 200,000 mark. So they kind of want to get rid of that 200,000 mark. And I found this website right here. It's called Electric that pretty much covers it. And so it says the bill is interesting to the electric EV community because it includes a long needed reform to the federal tax credit for electric vehicles. The main goal of this reform, and one for the most people agree on, is the need to eliminate the tax credit cap after automakers hit that $200,000 vehicle. So the federal tax credit is maintained at $7,500. So that stays the same. It eliminates the credit cap after automakers hit $200,000 electric vehicles sold, making GM Tesla eligible again. So this is really great. The language in the bill indicates that the tax credit will be implemented at the point of sale instead of like a tax credit on the tax return. In order to get the full credit, the electric vehicle needs to be assembled in North America. The majority of battery components need to come from North America and contain a certain percentage of minerals from countries with free trade agreements with the U.S. And then there's going to be a new federal tax credit of $4,000 for used electric vehicles, zero emission vans, SUVs, and trucks with MSRPs up to $80,000 now qualify. Electric sedans priced at up to $55,000 MRSP qualify. And then the full electric vehicle tax credit will be available to individuals reporting adjusted gross incomes of $150,000 less, or a $300,000 for joint violence. So this is kind of what's going on with the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. None of this is official yet. It's still like an idea. It's just breaking because they finally come to agreement. And then I want to see if I can find this tweet from Biden last night. Man, I should have had it up. This tweet that came from Biden last night about the Inflation Act of 2022. It would help if I spelled inflation right. Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Yeah, so here's his statement from the president on the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. This is something that he says is agreement in. So expected if it reaches to Biden that this would become law. Now there's several things that it still has to go through the Senate. It's still a reconciliation bill. It still has to go through the House. I believe it's going to be a reconciliation bill. So that means this is a bill that's mainly supported on the blue side, also known as Democrats. And as long as they have all 50 votes, I mean, they're good. They don't have to go through the red. And apparently what it looks like is that all blue is going to be supported. Like, I want to just reiterate that this is not law yet. There's still things, and there's a lot more to come. I will keep you posted as I hear more. But my name is Duke, and I make taxes very easy to understand. Make sure you like my page, subscribe to stay educated. Deuce.